right. And so this is just going to be a little dialogue with all of us. They've been kind enough to invite me onto their shows, and we dialogue on network once in a while. We're going to deal with heavy-duty issues. The country is at a tipping point in many ways, so we don't want to duck from reality, but on the other hand, we want to have fun and move forward confidently in faith together, and so we got the right couple to help us do that. Matt, why don't you share, you have the biggest conservative platform in the world and the biggest network, and you're probably more in tune than anyone. The challenges up in D.C. right now, around the world, where do you see some glimmers of hope where faith does play a positive role, personal relationships you have, people you know, institutions you see rising up somewhat? What gives you hope when things seem fairly tough right now?
Well, we know the lesson that out of adversity comes hope, right? Or you rediscover hope. And I was just talking to Charles W. Herbster and Dr. Carson over here that for us, we have 5 young girls. Our oldest will be going to college. But after coming to Liberty, I'm having some regrets about where she's going. This is beautiful down here. But the really, truly amazing place. And I think you need retirement communities all around this campus. You need a Liberty High School. You need Liberty Grammar School. You need to have a whole community, because my oldest child, our oldest child, was telling me the other day, she's 18 years old. She's like, Dad, I think all of us who believe in America and believe in God, we're going to all have to live in community. And I think that's where we're going. And during this whole, whatever you call it, a pandemic, the other day I called it a walkdemic, and my wife said that was politically incorrect. But
walk as W-O-K. See, people don't get it.
I get it. But the point is what came out of it, which is, to the chosen guys, we don't watch any TV anymore. What happened in our house, we got a new house. Dr. Carson's been there. I bought all these big screen TVs because I'm a guy, and I thought that'd be great to watch football, and then football became terrible to watch. And then I thought, well, we'll watch movies, and movies became terrible to watch. And then, so now they're just like big pieces of art with like a photo that's on them. And so we don't watch television, and we read books out loud. I have found myself, socialism only has one good effect in my life, and it has done wonders for my prayer life, because I've been scared to death about what I've read and seen.
Yeah, we've been waiting for the hopeful part, so we're finally getting to...
Yeah, the hopeful part is, what does it take a family and a 53-year-old man to crack open the Bible, to start the day with the Bible, to turn off all the cultural crap that's headed our direction? Why did it take this for me to turn off that television? Why did it take all these crazy things that have happened in our country, from the election and everything else, for me to turn off almost all news? Why did it take that? Well, I think we're all being called to hunker down and to focus on what's important.
That's pretty hopeful. That's pretty good. Give him a round. Good. Very good. All right, let's hear from the Director of Communications. Where's the hope up in the swamp, around the world, maybe in friends, network, churches? Where are you seeing?
It's one word. It's freedom. It's what America is yearning for. It is what the globe is yearning for every single day. And I know the chosen, you all focused on the New Testament, but I want the Old Testament too, because Moses, he's quite a character. And one thing you learn about Moses is he had to take these people and get them, they go into exile, but they have to trust in God. They had to trust in Moses. And really, that is where we are right now. It is this choice between freedom or being bound, tied up, and taken down. Meaning they will go after us, they will persecute us, they will not stop. When I mean they, it is the socialist, it is the communist that are not only here in America, but have these authoritarian regimes throughout the world. And so we have to stand for freedom, freedom to worship, freedom to speak up boldly. And it's this next generation that they are the warrior generation. They are the ones, as all of us need to do, in our churches, in the corporations, in our schools, to say, we will speak up and we will talk about God, and we will talk about the greatness and glory of God, and we will teach the Bible, and we will teach what is good because we know what is good. And that's why we got to stop these politicians from all these crazy mandates that they're pushing, all these crazy theories like critical race theory that wants to divide us and separate us. And so it's why we are all called in this room to lead, to be hopeful and not give up. Not give up here in America, and know that they're all across the globe, they're all watching us to see if America falls. And we are on the front lines to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Wow.
Dave,
that right there, I saw courage in the eyes. Unbelievable. Thank you. Thanks for the applause. Yeah, Matt.
Let me, Pastor, you know, they talked about the great work you're doing in Africa. And the one thing I would say that we don't really realize as much as we should as Americans, some of us by birth, some of us by choice, what a special place America is. The reason why America is so under attack with this like internal cancer is because if America falls, everything falls. And we know we're not a theocracy, we are a pluralistic society, but there is a deeper meaning to America than people realize. And when Mercy and I traveled, we did these CPACs around the globe. Much like you guys, we had our CPAC content, and it was always a closed system. You had to buy a ticket, it's an expensive ticket, and you have to pay to see it. And one of the things we did is we said, why are we spending millions of dollars to put something on and let the cameras in, open up the doors, try to impact people? Well, something strange happened. It was a massive online audience, and then there was this massive international audience. So what ended up happening is something like 26 countries said, this CPAC thing, can we get that here? And we went all over the globe, and we went to Tokyo, and all these women are wearing MAGA hats. They're wearing Make America Great hats, Great Again hats. And I said to them, through a translator, I'm like, why do you guys want to make America great? Like, why doesn't it say Make Japan Great Again? And almost the same answer every time from every place in Asia and every other place. Because you have a president who understands our enemy is China, and he has our back. And it's just an amazing thing to hear so often.
Great. It's great. Yeah, and your network is made up of government officials, politicians, but a lot of CEOs. And Mercedes, what are you hearing from CEOs? Why is it so difficult? Up in D.C., the pressure's got to be enormous. But what's your counsel to the CEOs out here? In Congress or whatever, the mainstream media can be punishing. And so what counsel do you give to the CEOs out there?
Look, I think it's such a big challenge for CEOs out there who have to deal with the bigger companies that are pushing a certain agenda that might not align with your agenda. And so, what's so unfortunate is that politics has seeped into every single corporate board. And that has become, I think, a very big challenge for corporations. And what I find is we've talked, at least through CPAC, we've met so many of these CEOs who are saying, I need to support an organization that's going to do good, that's going to work on grassroots, to talk about this message of freedom, to talk about this message of economic growth, this message of educational freedom, this message of national security and border security, and these issues that really matter. Because what do we want? We want America to succeed. We want more investments in America. We want more jobs to be created. But what you don't want is you don't want government in your business. And that's where you have to push back. My father, who was from Cuba, born and raised, I had a conversation with him the other day. He was, at the time, was when Fidel Castro came into power. He had 3 businesses that he started. And the military came in and took his key and said, hand everything over. He had a pawn shop. Hand over all the jewelry you have. And so, what does that story tell you? For my father, he made a very important choice. He either said, I'm going to sit back and be quiet and let the commies take it, or I'm going to fight back. And he fought back, and he stood up to them. He was thrown into jail for 6 years. But to this day, you ask him about America, and he's looking at this nation, and he's like, I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. Because you have government infiltrating in so many ways on how you can do your business. So it's important to make sure we have the right leaders in place, not only at the federal level, but in the governorships, in your local and state elections, even maybe run for local or state elections, and to make sure you have the right leaders in place to stop the government from getting in your business.
That's great, tremendous. That real life experience, you can just hear it come through with the family. And we've got Christian Lasval over here, one of our students, and now working with the Freedom Center. He's got the same story that he shares on campus here. And so Matt,
he's a really good driver too.
He's great at everything.
He's mastering that Yukon. He's doing a good job.
Reel too. He's a star here. Matt, why don't you continue with that? We don't fight just for fighting's sake. And so CEOs up when you're dealing with the government, with the bureaucracy, with the politics, with power, with the left, with the media, what counsel do you give to expand our freedom to at least put up a fight and stand strong? How can we stand together for the great things we believe in, right? Like Mercedes said, just the freedom of religious speech, the Judeo-Christian tradition, the rule of law, free markets, just the things we take for granted, like oxygen. But it seems we got to put up a fight just for their existence right now. So what's your count? How do we fight the fight for the basics?
My advice has been for probably a decade now to a lot of the companies I've advised and counseled is to don't fall prey to this idea that America has been taken over by these ideas that we don't want girls' sports, or that there's no genders, or that people are fully secular. And I think there's a lot of well-meaning CEOs out there who get a cadre of people around them that really are pushing this propaganda, and they feel like they're against the wall, and they have to accept it to be able to go to Davos in good company and be accepted in the corridors of power. And I just always go back. I don't know why you and I have always liked each other, but maybe because we like politics, right? I think it's also because we gave you some money when you ran for office, but I don't think actually that's what it is.
Thank you. It's very nice.
But I know exactly how much, by the way. He's the dean of the business school. He knows. So anyway, but the point is if you look at the poll numbers behind where the country is, and polling really is broken, but there are aspects of polling that are not broken. Do you know the number one dominant group in America are self-described conservatives? Do you know that liberals have really never overtaken conservatives in this country? I'm not giving you right-wing polling. This is Gallup. This is Pew, very, very left-wing polling organizations. The problem for believers and the problem for conservatives is all day long you're told you are a bigot, that you don't matter, that you're yesterday, that you're small, and that you're a tiny little sliver of the country. The fact is the exact opposite. Socialists in this country who have tremendous power, don't get me wrong, they are a sliver in every poll. But because they do believe in pushing untruth through propaganda, and they have so much elite, that's the real collusion, right? This elite collusion, they make us feel like we are little. So if you're in a company and they tell you have to do certain things to get ahead, which is what we're all facing and what our kids are facing, nobody will say much because the consequences are so dire. But if we keep being quiet, easy for me to say because CPAC isn't going to fire me for being bold, right? So I'm the least courageous person in the room. But if people would actually be courageous and respectfully and with love speak up, you will see a majority of this country stand up and speak with them.
Yep, well said. And I know the backstory on CPAC, and he's been humble there. It takes tremendous courage to stand up and do what you do. We're very proud of the work you do, and Mercedes. Why don't we close with just a little personal testimony? Whenever people look at the Schlapps, other than noticing that your hair is better than mine, they see the both of you.
Okay,
you're
good.
both good. They see the sparkle right there, that face, and that look at. Is that a handsome couple or what? Right. So in the midst of the swamp, and total depression on certain days, and the fight coming at us, and central planning, da-da-da-da-da. How do you keep the spark? Where do you go? Any verses that come to mind? Any biblical texts that give you hope?
I'm a Catholic, and Catholics are not really good at the Bible verse thing, but it's true. I was telling him I would pray with the evangelical. A dear friend of mine's evangelical. I pray with him pretty much every day. And then I go to confession with the priest, and when I pray with the evangelical, I'm always like, can you try to do like a Catholic prayer real short, if I have to rush quickly? No, I feel that for Matt and I, our faith is the center of our life. If we would not have God in the center, we could not survive the daily attacks that we get from the left. And so with that, I believe we have, with our 5 daughters, and they're still young, we spend a lot of time talking about God, talking about our faith, talking about this great country and why it's important to love America. And I think that watching them grow up, they know that it's going to be a tough road ahead. But I feel that they're becoming very strong and resilient because they know that God stands by their side every single day. And to open up that Bible every single day has changed, I know, my life. I know it's made our marriage even stronger. And we know that there's so much more to come, but because we have God with us, we will survive. We will get there, and it will take community. And going to church every week is critical for our family. And having the relationship with our priest and knowing that our prayer life is what's going to get us through, I think has been really the most important thing for us.
We've had the most amazing people. The last 5 years actually has been pretty hard for us, I'll be honest. I've lost almost every friend. It's like everybody just spit us out because we made certain decisions, and we felt proud in making those decisions, not sinful pride, but we knew we were doing what God was calling us to do. And in the process, we had so many people, Christian believers of all stripes, call us and really pray for us and be there with us and really sustain us. And I will say just what I think the country is going through is worse than what we even perceive. I think it's more serious than a lot of people understand. It's not a pendulum right now. It's literally the side of a cliff. And that sounds very pessimistic because it is dire. And I feel like that's been put on our hearts that we understand how serious it is. But I feel like that's when we really rise up. And I feel like that's when we can really come together. And I think that that's what's going to happen in this country. And the one thing I would leave you with is everybody is watching in the whole globe to see what we do. And so, the stakes are high, but it's really not just about your family. It's not just about this great university. It's not really just about America. It's this whole idea of life on this globe, and do we live in subjugation and misery, or do we get to live out the life that God wants us to live on this earth? And there's so many wonderful people. I guess the one biblical lesson I hold on to is the idea of the remnant. And there are good people in every town, and there are good people in every state, and every single one of them who's good feels terrible and feels so under the gun these days. And we just got to be there for each other, and we got to make it happen. It's time to execute.
All right, there's the word of hope. Thank you, Matt. I couldn't think of a better couple from D.C. to come and be with us at Liberty to represent what's going on in the world. I think you heard it. It is serious times. There's no ducking it. And in the midst of the serious times, we go to God, we go to the book in faith, we go to our community, and we got leaders like Matt Mercedes Schlapp leading the way. And so God bless you guys for your ministry up in D.C. Let us know how we can help you, and thanks for helping us. God bless you all. Thank you very much. All right.